Yes, Victor. Hi, Victor. You're first. Hi, Ian. Let me know if you can hear and see. I should have gotten a hair tie before starting the stream. Sorry about the noise. Hi, April and Temple. How is everyone today? Thank you. Thanks, April. Oh, in France. Wow. That's awesome. Hi, Dan. Ah, coffee sounds great. It's a bit hot here still for coffee, though fortunately the weather has cooled, at least for today, so I can stream and not sweat possibly. I'm not enjoying this summer, guys. It's kind of gross. Hi, Malvina. Oh, Malvina, did you see my message about the paints? Oh no, Dan, how did you do that? The one time I bruised my tailbone was when someone pulled the awful prank on me of pulling off my chair before I sat down, and I totally didn't see it. So I like went to sit on the chair and fell on the floor, and I think I really hurt my tailbone, and I had problems sitting for a while. I wonder if it wasn't like broken or something like that, because it really hurt. It was a really bad fall. Oh, coffee is finally kicking in. I miss the ability to drink hot tea. Like, it's been so warm that I just cannot do hot tea. And I would drink a lot of tea during a day, but it's been not great for that. Oh, I'm glad you got my message, Malvina. Like, it took 2 months, but finally. Oh, hi, that one awkward guy. Oh, whoa. Oh, live in the desert. That's definitely not something I could do. Oh, you on an exercise bike? Wow. Malvina, I should get it like if not today or tomorrow, like by next week, because it's in Montreal right now. So it should be out for delivery quite soon. Hi, Cyan. Okay, I will remove the pre-stream message. Ta-da. Right. And I'll sort of get started. As it's been a bit hot again, it's kind of difficult to work on the computer a lot and record footage and everything that's video. So instead of the regularly scheduled videos, I've been doing live streams. Oh no, Malvina. Well, I'll check it out. I think that might be an interesting situation to look at the chocolate in the package. I really am wondering why it took like 2 months. Because if you look at the dates, like it was from June and we're in August, so it's like, where has it been for 2 months? What? Okay, so yeah, so it's been so hot that making regular videos is kind of difficult. So I figured I will do live streams. because live streams are kind of fun and a bit less intensive on the computer work. And I can like be away from the computer, though I'm under the lights, so perhaps it's not that best. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about palettes because recently I've stumbled upon these two palettes here, still packaged, that I thought were really awesome, and I had never seen those before, and I figured I had to try them, and I wanted to share it with you guys so that perhaps you can keep an eye open for those if that's the kind of stuff that interests you. So, unboxing. So it's just a plain box. It's not even like branded or anything. Like even the code, that like this thingy here, the barcode, it just says like Watercolor 24 half pans palette with the size and the barcode and like made in China, and that's it. So I was really surprised. I don't even know how I stumbled upon that on my local art supply store website. But yeah, okay. This was wrapped in a plastic, but I took a sneak peek at the palettes, so I had to remove the plastic for this one. And it's really like the it's a lot like the koi boxes. It has kind of a similar thing at the bottom. You see, with the sort of kind of niblets here to clip it in place, and kind of a similar shape, very similar size, and like kind of a similar packaging if you look at it. Like it's really similar. Except perhaps that this one is a bit more of a cool white than this one. Yeah, shipping is kind of gross. Shipping is expensive. Oh, I agree with you, Cyan. Editing is not the greatest part of making videos. So when you open it, again, I'm gonna pick this one up. It's very similar to the koi palettes. Okay, my koi palette has been gutted out because I really don't like the paints, and I wanted to use this for something else. But you can see, you can obviously see how similar this is. Like very, the layout is the same. This is the same, well, except for the notches here. And I can remove this here, and look at this. Look under here. This is kind of cool, right? Like you got this, the same kind of situation with this, that you can put this anywhere you want it to. You got the sponges here like the original set had. And then you got these inserts with pans in it. Hold on, I'm trying to pop it out but not explode everything. So yeah, it's kind of a cartridge, and it comes with the small pans in it. And you just put the pans in place, and I wonder if this one fell out just because it wasn't properly secured, but you can really secure them well in there and they won't fall. And I had never seen this set before. So I was really intrigued, and it wasn't super expensive. Like this, the 24 pan palette was like $13 with Canadian dollars, so that's really not expensive for most of you guys. And yeah, you can just pop these out, and you have the cartridge. I don't know if a regular pan will fit in here. I don't think it will. It's kind of too big. But it doesn't really bother me because the set comes with the pans already for everything, and they're empty, so you can put whatever paint you want in there. And yeah, you can pop these out, and there's this nice space at the bottom too. I think they say that this is a space you can put water, but I can tell from experience that putting water directly in a palette with paints is not always enjoyable, especially outside. So yeah, you can take these out. Like, it would be ideal if they sold the cartridges alone, like you could switch out sections of the set, but still, that's kind of a an impressive palette. And it's small and you have like so many colors in there. And I know you can probably like take this one and do what I did, like gut it out. Well, this one has kind of a texture, so you would have to put possibly like a cardboard base, like laminate some cardboard and put it as a base under here, and then put pans on top. But the fact that this is made for it makes it like more secure than anything. Like I'm all for DIY, do it yourself, but I'm also really enjoying when things are made to be this way. Like this set here, this is kind of cool. And you know, the cartridges, they're well secured into place. These are not moving. The pans are perhaps a bit more well, yeah, not that bad, you know. And I'm quite sure you can put the travel brush around here. Just grabbing, yeah, and that's not a small one, that's a size 10. So let's see, let me grab another one. Size 2. Oops, the sponge fell out. And it closes. Okay, that's a bit like, it moves around. So if it was me, I would secure it down with like poster tack, because I would hate this noise happening all the time. But yeah, you could add a couple of extra pans here if you want. Brushes. You could possibly put a small pencil and like an eraser, or perhaps a small inking pen. This feels kind of small. Let me see. I'll just grab here. Well, this pen fits in quite nice. So depending on the pens and tools you use, you can really add something here that, let's say about a water brush. That would actually be the intelligent thing to check out. Ah, well, that's kind of cool. And it's not going to move around much because it's sort of held into place by this. And oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Perhaps with this. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And yeah, I was really intrigued, and now I'm really glad I got these. I haven't tested it out yet, so I don't know if the plastic is any good or if it's beading or anything, but as far as presentation and setup goes, this is quite nice. And well, of course, this one is a larger one. And I was quite intrigued in this one because it's a 48 pan set, so it's twice this one. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, but everything is much larger. Am I on camera? Okay, this is better. So more sections, more space. Also, not quite the same color of plastic. This plastic is a bit more yellow, perhaps. Still white, but not as cool white as this one. And yeah, you basically have this removable that you can put anywhere around here. And 48 colors, which is a lot. And it comes with the cartridges again. And the pans. And this one was $19.99 Canadian dollars. And still space for more stuff. Sponges. I mean, if you don't use the sponges, you can also take these out and put more pans in here, I guess. I love that the sponges are not glued down because you can wash them. Yeah, it's like the Mama Bear Sakura palette. Yeah, that's a good description of it. Except that it's empty and it's not, you know, filled with the Sakura paints that are basically useless. It would probably need a bit of a washing. There's kind of a leftover stuff from the process of molding this thing, but it's not like uncommon with plastic things. So I was really interested into getting this one because of the hold on. Of course, it's at the bottom of the pile, but okay, cool. If you remember my my gouaches from Shinhan. These are the Shinhan past gouaches, but since there are 48 colors in the set of Shinhan, I was thinking that I might transfer these colors into this palette because this is kind of big on my desk, and with this I don't have any mixing space. And even if this is still big, at least even if I have like the mixing space, so I can possibly use this more than this here, because my desk is kind of small, like it's not that big. So I was thinking I could transfer this to this. It's also very mathematically pleasing that it's 48 colors and this is 48 pans. I haven't used the gouache palette much, just because it's kind of big, and I'm always like it's no wonder I draw into small sketchbooks. It's because I don't have a lot of space. So but it's been annoying me that I don't use the paints more, like I want to use them, but it's kind of cumbersome. So perhaps this will, like I can still have this here and my sketchbook and like a rag and some of the tools like the water bucket over here, and it kind of fits, and it's somewhat perhaps easier to use. I have yet to test these things out, but that was my idea. And the cats have been on my table. Well, I can say for sure that this plastic likes cat hairs and stray brush hairs, because it's been collecting them. And of course it's only like Scout's hair, so the dark hair that goes on the white plastic. So that's it. I don't know yet what I'll put into this one, but I like how small and convenient it is. And also, since it's plastic, it's a bit lighter than metal palettes with paints in them. They get really heavy. I'm pretty sure everyone there knows about that. Okay, chat. Yeah, it's really hard to find palettes for a lot of paints. Like, of course you have the metal one, but I don't know. I'm still a bit on the fence. Not exactly on the fence, because I like pans, but I'm also annoyed at pans in a way, because they're a bit awkward to work. Like, they're so deep and small, like in proportion, that eventually you end up with a big well in the middle, and then you sort of ruin your brush by trying to pick up some color. So I find half pans super awesome for like storing paints and having like colors readily available in dry form, but also at the same time I find them a bit annoying to use. So I'm looking for something perhaps a bit different. I know that this is still pan, so I'm not really fixing the problem here, but yeah. So that's that. Hi, everyone that came in. I see. Hi, Sophie, and Sophie is a weird name for me to say because I have an aunt that's named Sophie, but in French. So whenever I see it in English, my brain sort of doesn't really know what to do with it. Hi, Lissy. Yeah, maybe not the best palettes to take out when your pets are shitting. um, I like slanted well palettes too, Dan. That's why I'm a bit like what I want ideally doesn't exist. Let me get an example. Okay, so this is like the smallest, cheapest plastic slanted palette that's usually available. It's pretty simple. Wells for mixing, wells for paints. But, well, okay, this one is not really big, right? But still, for traveling, I would love it if they made slanted palettes that were like half the size. Like this big. And you have room for like, what, 10 colors in there? And a couple of mixing spaces, and forget about this thing. There's no need for thumb holes. Just you know, the small thing. And I would love it. Like something super small. With slanted wells. I mean, you can make some very small palettes using pans and tins and whatever, but I like slanted wells a lot too, but all the palettes with slanted wells are at least this big. And they have like holes in them and everything, so it's kind of inconvenient for traveling perhaps, but yeah. Have pans. Hey! I had a visitor. Peko was here, but she fled. Yeah, pans with big brush are really not fun. So basically, whenever I use pans for a bigger painting, I have to use like this as a sort of in between the pans and the painting. Like I have to grab a brush, work the pans, transfer the paint into a well, and then use the well for my painting, which is kind of a weird in between, perhaps. Oh, hi, Massimiliano. Hi. And like in terms of huge palettes, I have I'm really happy with my M. Graham palette, but it's humongous. Like this is really handy because it houses all my M. Graham colors. But if I have this open on a desk, there's basically room for nothing else. It won't even fit into the camera. Perhaps like this. All right. So yeah, I need to have a satellite table that that I put this palette on and can work from there. For now, I mean, hopefully one day I will have a bigger table, or perhaps less junk on my table that I can have room for the palette. But for now, it's kind of tricky to use these large palettes. It's sort of difficult to find the middle ground between having all the colors in the same place at once, which is what I technically prefer by brand, but at the same time, when it gets to be like a really big palette, it's more difficult to fit it anywhere. Oh yeah, brass palettes are really nice, though most brass palettes, they don't have slanted wells. They have sort of either places for pans, like half pans, or they have like sections already welded in. And sometimes the sections are bigger, so that's awesome. But aside from that, it's still the same issue of having to work in a well of paint. And I haven't really figured out how to go around this. They are not affordable too. Like, brass palettes are gorgeous, but whoo, the price. I could we could argue that I could perhaps not have so much stuff and save up and buy, like, if I were to convert all my palettes, I could probably pay for one of the brass ones maybe, but this, I think it's a bit against my nature. I like to try things, and I like to, like, it's basically my job for now to try these things and share my experience, so it's kind of, if I only have one palette, there's not going to be a lot of stuff to share. Yeah, that's the issue. Like either you have a closed palette that takes up a lot of space when you open it, but open palettes, they will necessarily pick up hair and dust and just about anything, especially if you have pets. So yeah, I've a couple of smaller palettes that I'm trying to test out. Like they've been in the queue for testing in a while, but I'm still stuck with the same issue of either having wells that are too deep or a palette that's cumbersome. Like it's people. I would love it if people could engineer towards more slanted wells rather than pans. Because anyway, most people who use pans, they pour the paint into the pan, or at least once the cake is done, they don't often rebuy the same pan. They buy the tube and you pour the tube. So slanted well would work. Okay, so I have another couple of palettes here. Quite a few actually. Huh. These are kind of different. Yeah, well, okay. Sure, you don't want to open. Fine. Do you want to open? Yeah, okay. So these are typewriter tins. This one is quite clean, actually. This one is bothering me that it's not opening. Ah! Hi, Paulo! Ow. Ugh! Open! Open, you darn thing! Okay. This is another one. One. This is a square one. And this is a regular, you know, a fisherman's friend tin. And the palettes are not in there. I think they're in there. Hopefully this won't be too much of a mess. Okay, so these are 3D printed kind of small palettes that you can use, oops, in these boxes. Okay, cool. So I have a bunch of these, obviously. Yeah, I saw the thing about Jane Blundell having filling the pans at an angle instead of straight. I've tried it a bit. It's kind of not perhaps the best fit for me now. Like I don't. It's a bit like I don't know how to use it well for now, and it just annoys me anyway. And I end up with the well in the middle anyway. So I understand what she means, but I think it's perhaps more convenient when you use full pans. Because if you fill half pans at an angle, you still don't have a lot of paint in there. Oh, a fisherman's friend don't come in cool tins anymore. What a bummer. So I've glued super strong magnets on the back of it, or the side of everything, which is why these things might move on their own. But basically, like, you have this one is for paints. It has 24 wells, which is impressive considering the size. So you basically have this in the palette, and then you can sort of use these as a mixing area, and you can just, like, when you stir it up, you can just put these in here and close the tin, and you have everything here. But when you want to paint with the magnets, you can sort of just tack on these to the and they're quite sturdy magnets. Like, you can work the paint in there and it's not gonna move much. What I like of this is how convenient and small it is. But like, You still have to go deep to get in. Like I'm really picky about my palettes. I will work with anything if I have it, but if you ask me what my like ideal palette would be, it would not be something that's so deep as a tin, because you have to go down and you can see the colors here, and it's just, I could possibly just take it out too. Like, let's just do this. Oh, that's kind of a way to work this up too. Am I on camera? Yeah, okay, cool. If I could 3D print, I would really try to model the small slanted well palette and print it. But that's really not a set of skill I have for now. Oh, hi! For the love of loot. I don't know if you have shared your name yet with us, but anyway, hi. And Born Again Farm Girl. That's Tracy, right? Hi, guys. Okay, so that's the tin one. Like Altoids tin would probably work for that too. I'm really bothered that I can't open this one. Sorry, just bothers me so much. So cute though. It's a cardinal. I love a cardinal. Perhaps when it's gonna be less like gross, less humid in here, it's gonna open better. But yeah, so I've shown you the square one. So there's also like square tins for this one. And I did the same kind of idea of having these, well, you cannot fit 3 in there, you can only fit 2. But you can still like either put this there or put this inside the top lid and have this like work out. It's less deep than the tin, so that's kind of cool. But it's also smaller, so this one only has 16 colors. And it would possibly be better suited for smaller paintings, of course, because if you see the size of the wells in here, you cannot put a big brush in there and you cannot put a lot of paint. So, yeah. Question, is the 3D plastic porous? It is sort of textured, but it doesn't feel porous. Like if you look on the other side, it's quite smooth. There's a couple of tiny bubbles in there. This side has kind of a woven-like texture on it. So yeah, the final shape I have is the round one. So you basically have, well, how many colors in there? 8, 9, a bunch of colors. A great number of holes, sorry, not up to counting them. And you just, like the magnets, they're quite nice. And you can have one that has this one is 10 colors. And then you have sort of a mixing tray also that you can either put in the lid, but here the lids are quite deep, so you can just perhaps have it on the side and start in there and then close it. So these are great, but like I said, what you gain in terms of being small, you sort of lose in terms of being able to work on perhaps larger paintings. Of course, if you're traveling and you're doing like travel sketches, they might be small, but I know that some people do quite big urban sketching. So in that sense, I don't feel I don't feel like this would be quite a good match for like bigger stuff. Oh, awesome. Okay, so hi Dominic and Jason. So, okay, so question, have you seen the 3D porcelain palettes that Stefani Law is bringing? Yeah, I saw them and I might have pre-ordered one too. I'm really excited to see those because porcelain is a nice surface. Like, I am not the kind of person that is bothered by staining. Like, it's just something that happens and I can still work with the stained palette. Like, I never clean my palette, so what's the difference between staining and the palette just being plain dirty? But yeah, I am still excited for palettes because it's something new and different, and it has the potential of really making like something interesting out of it. So okay, what else in terms of palettes? Trying to think. Do you guys have any more questions that I could answer? Because I've tried a bunch of things and some have stuck, some haven't, and I have quite a few palettes. Like, I really love this one. It's one of my favorite palettes in terms of look and design, but it spans still, so I haven't really invested into figuring out which colors I want in there. It has room for 16 colors. And since I am unsure if I want to use this for like more of studies and plein air sketching or for illustration, I haven't filled it yet. It's still brand new. But yeah, I don't use the same colors depending on what I paint, so yeah, and this one is like sturdy metal and it's super nice. It's a bit like the, you remember the super small one? It's kind of the same idea. This one I really like too, but as you can see, it's empty for now. The only perhaps inconvenient with this one is that you really have not a lot of mixing space. So if you need to mix more than 2 colors, you're kind of screwed. I really like this one, also metal, also really small. But yeah, you cannot paint anything big with this because you're gonna struggle a lot with getting enough paint from these tiny pans. These are the Holbein palettes. These are super nice, but they're kind of hard to find and perhaps a bit expensive around here. But I would love it if they made like a slanted well palette that's like half this size. Same thing inside, like, but you have yeah, this one would be about 12 wells, and you forget about the thumbhole part, so you have a bit of mixing space, and then 12 colors, and it's this size instead of this size. Not that this is big, but it's metal, so it gets kind of heavy, and with the sketchbook, with the drawing tools, with the water and everything, the painting bag gets kind of heavy. I've made a couple of ones from tins. I'm always on the lookout for tins that are perhaps a bit thinner. This one is not a lot thinner, but it has a white interior, so I thought that was great. And these are the Holbein pans that come with a magnet. But yeah, it's just, though this is kind of okay for like plein air sketching. But yeah, you don't, I don't know. Oh, bye, Cyan. I paint indoors a lot too. Oh, I spy a kitten. Hold on, I'll see if I can grab her for a moment. I'm sorry I startled you. Come here. No, I don't want. Do not want. No. Kitten. Just to make sure there's even more hair on my table. Aw. You want some cuddles? Fine. You want to paint? Of course you like the red one. Oh, you're purring. That's so cute. So this is Peko, if you haven't seen her yet. I have two cats, Peko and Scout. They're both ladies. And they're sisters. They come from the same mom. But they are super different in terms of personality. And they are 7 years old. They're gonna be 8 next spring. And they are my babies. She's shedding like crazy. There's so many hairs on the black palettes. Oops. Oh, that's so cool, Temple. Though not the part that you weren't feeling good enough. That sucks. Oh. She's purring so loud. Hold on. Okay, I will move you back to the window, I think. Alright, there you go. I don't know if the camera can pick up all this hair, but it's... Yep. Cats are shitting. Oh no, it's Mickey. I lost the maze. Come back. Yeah. What's your favorite palette? I don't have one. There are many I like, but I don't have one. It really depends on where I am, the space I have, what colors I want to use, and stuff like that. I've been really enjoying my let me get it. This one. But it's mostly for illustration, so that's why like there are perhaps smaller dots of paints and smaller wells, because the way I approach illustration is not the same that I approach. Like I would sort of be annoyed at having to do a sketch, like a reference sketch from these colors, but for illustration, this is more the kind of palette that I prefer to use. It's nice and light, so that's great. Painting inside, I agree that the porcelain like plates are really great for mixing, but you need to have the space. And since I really don't mind, like I of course will prefer something that doesn't bead, but I don't really mind the surface I'm mixing on. So I've used like plastic lids for mixing. I've used just about anything for mixing. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, definitely if you prefer ceramic, check out the dollar store, or the like if you have a, what's the word I'm looking for? A secondhand store. You can get plates for like really cheap. I know that Otto has found some really nice, sort of a bit like a butcher's tray but in ceramic, and those seem really nice. And the fact that it's more like long than it is, like a round plate takes up a lot of space, but something that is rectangular is quite nice to use. No, this is technically a Mijello one. It's kind of weird because over here they're branded by another company. It's like Weber, but it's the exact same palettes. And that's Mijello, that's De La Rowney. That's just like, this one is a Holbein. So yeah, I'm just looking, do I have any? Well, there's this palette that is quite unique also. I'm really enjoying this one. It's a bit different, and as far as I can tell, this silicone for mixing areas is kind of weird because I think it's like super duper staining. I haven't tried to wash this yet, so perhaps there's a way to clean it that removes all the stain, but whenever I reactivate this color, I can tell that there's still color underneath. That's gonna stay there. But it holds the pans really well. So I can understand why they went for that. Hi, Grace! Hi, Andrea. So nice. Oh, April, you may have ordered the tiny. It's like in terms of travel palettes, that's usually the one I bring with me. It is so small, like it's this. I know that this one is small, but I kind of like this mixing area, and it has 16 colors. Well, room for 16 colors. I've switched out a couple, but it's pretty great and like sturdy and mixes well. I don't think it stains a lot, but it's a really nice one for travel. I really like to bring this one. And I think you can fit one travel brush in there, so super convenient. I don't travel a lot, but when I do travel, it's this one that I bring along because I usually have to fit everything into a backpack. So that means that the larger palettes are out. Oh, that cleans up quite decently, right? Like you sort of have to rub at it a couple of times, but it goes back to white. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I did. I put some Daniel Smith stick into. So these are, most of the colors are the original ones, except for the Prussian blue that I replaced with half a pan of Prussian blue from Winsor & Newton. That was a better color, in my opinion, than the one that was there. And I added teal instead of black, possibly. And there was like raw sienna and yellow ochre that were almost the same color, so instead I put a bit of gamboge, I think, because I felt like this set could use a warm yellow. It has a cool yellow and it has sort of a cool yellow number 2. So I was like, but yeah. See, it requires a bit of elbow grease. You gotta be careful about the paper towel pilling, so if you want to clean up these wells, perhaps a fabric rag would work better, but I'm surprised that it cleaned up so well, because when I try to pick up the colors with a brush, it really looks like there's a stain that's gonna stay there. But I should have known, there's nothing that can stick to silicone, right? And I enjoy the wells in different sizes because, you know, sometimes there's a color that I only mix a small amount, so I can use a small well, and I need more of a color, I can use the bigger well. And these wells as well. And the pans are quite generous in this set. Like the Carbazole Violet is literally like oozing out of the thing. So you don't really have to dig with your brush for now. I can just like rub at the top of the pan and it's less stress on the brush. But some colors are getting a bit of a hole in the middle, like the burnt sienna and the ultramarine. Oh! Do I have my phone? I want to see where Grace is at. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Is it really hot? Where can I buy elbow grease? A lot of elbow grease. is there really more kinds of palettes than... There's this one. It's kind of unique. There's the portable painter. That's also kind of unique. This is a good kind of compromise between having deep wells and having small wells, in that you have really shallow wells, but well, you can of course customize it however you want. There are some wells that are like half these ones, so you can get super small wells if you want to use like more colors for smaller paintings. But I kind of like that this palette is about customizing your layout, and it's really great for that. I'm not sure if this surface can be cleaned or if it stains. So if you are annoyed by mixing areas that stay stained, perhaps this is not the best match, unless you can, oh no, you can sort of, hold on, more elbow grease. Okay, elbow grease does a rather fine job. I retract what I was saying. So yeah, this is another fun one. I only wish that I could easily order replacement pans, because I would totally like make a bunch of pans and have it more customizable, but since I'm in Canada, it's kind of difficult to order these specific pans. Like, I know where I could order them from, but it's like it's not super heavy and it's not super big, and it's like $15 in shipping, so I'm like, nah, that's so much more expensive than what I want to order that it's not a good deal for me. The portable painter is another one that is quite unique. It's a bit like the Transformers of paint sets. I think it's a really nice travel set. I think personally I'm a bit weirded out by the fact that you have the water on the side. I don't know why. There's no good logical reason why that would weird me out. I think there's a part of me that's like apprehensive of having water so close to the pans. I must have made a mess when I was younger, and I was like, I'm never doing this again, and it stuck with me. The only downside of this set perhaps is that it's a bit more difficult to get your hands on pans that will fit in there unless you buy Winsor & Newton. But yeah, that's a nice travel set as well. But you're still stuck with the problem of the pans. But yeah. Like, I would perhaps feel a bit self-conscious about using this in a cafe. You know, it feels like I don't know if this is the proper way to explain how it makes me feel, but it kind of feels like you had planned on going there for painting, while I always feel like painting in a cafe is something that's more spontaneous. So to have this gadget that is definitely meant to be like everything in the package, and everything is nicely, tightly like in this, it's a really nice travel palette. Like, if I was going somewhere to paint outside, I might bring this one. But if I'm just like meeting up with friends and perhaps we will sketch, I feel more comfortable having something like this with me. That's smaller, that feels like something you could have in your bag anyway, and that is perhaps more spontaneous. If you have this and like a water brush, it doesn't look like you set out a super prepared expedition to go painting in a cafe, you know? Oh, bye, Grace. Have fun. Trying to think if I have other kinds of palettes. Yeah, it's kind of too perfect. Like I don't. I'm glad that April you relate with my weird inner qualms with this super awesome. I mean, it's really awesome, and I like gadgety things. Like I like Swiss knives and all that, but I'm also kind of shy about painting in public, and this makes me so self-conscious that I'm painting and you have like the water buckets on your table next to your croissant, and it's just so weird. And yeah, I would probably like get caught in this and make a mess, and then you're at the cafe and you have to ask for like a mop or use up a bunch of napkins to clean up. It's kind of a bit too anything that needs a water bucket makes me feel really self-conscious about painting in public. But oh, I know where it is. Hold on. I think I saw Teo Yichi use this, and I saw these around, and I had to get one for many reasons. But like this is the kind of jar I would use if I was in a cafe. It's a really teeny tiny Nutella jar. It's in glass. That's glass, so that's kind of awesome. And for small sketching, it works well. Like you will end up with dirty water, but for like small sketches, you really don't need much more than that. And it's perhaps easier to clean out and carry around than having like the water jug. Like, how do you fill those if you're in a cafe? Do you ask, can I get a glass of water to fill my paint tool? The cringe, guys, the cringe. So yeah, this is kind of great for that. I would usually use a small Nalgene bottle for when I'm sketching outside, but like that's more for plein air sketching because it's kind of big. But it's perfect for plein air. Like I can open it and close it, and it's watertight. And I don't feel self-conscious about having this out if I'm outdoors painting, like at the botanical gardens or something. I'm fine with this. Like this is okay. But if I'm in a cafe and I take this out, first of all, I'm sure I'm gonna tip it and make a mess again, and then it's kind of, I don't know, just awkward in my book. Could be just me. Yeah, these are great, and you get to eat the Nutella that's inside too. And I know that Nutella is basically like a cake icing and it has dairy in it, so it's kind of not good for me. But it's the one thing with dairy that I have a hard time not indulging sometimes. Like I'm fine not eating cheese because cheese kills me, but like this amount of Nutella, it can usually go okay-ish. So yeah, but I only bought this one, so yeah. Hi, Gekonia. Hi, how are you? Yeah, it feels not pretentious because I don't think anybody like, but I think it feels a bit like begging for attention. Like it's such a cursed object to have out that I feel like sort of inviting people to check what you're doing, and that's really not my brain space regarding painting in public. I much prefer to paint in public if no one knows I'm doing it. All right. Oh, speaking of this tin, I'm bringing it out because it's quite different. It's so thin. This is the Renaissance tin that April sent me. Sorry about coughing. But I really like this one. Of course, it's still pans, so you still have the issues of regular pans, but the fact that it's so slim is really awesome. It's like half the height of a regular set, and you only have like one tray for mixing. You don't have the secondary one, which is great because when you're working with limited space like I am, I don't use both trays. I often use only one, so the fact that there is only one with this set works for me. So this is a fun palette. Oh no, it's okay. Oh no, Otto. I forgot to tell you again. I'm sorry, this is my bad. I keep thinking that YouTube is as efficient as Twitch, as sending out notification of people going live, but it's not. So I'm really sorry, although I should have dropped you a note. This is the Renaissance metal palette. I am not sure if anybody else has a similar slim palette, but as far as I know, Renaissance is the only ones that have this super slim set. Oh, 4 rails on the palette. Sounds interesting. I hope if they do, they have back-to-back rails. Oh, I'm so sorry, Otto. It's my fault. I should have warned you. I really forget that YouTube sucks in terms of notification. Twitch is quite good, so I'm always like, it's like Twitch. You know, Twitch, someone goes live, sends you a notification, you're good. But YouTube is like this unknown entity that decides whatever. Okay, so yeah, what I'm talking about back-to-back, do I have a good example? Trying to think. Like when you get to a certain certain amount of palettes, this one is decent. You eventually run into issues with them, like, and their details, like teeny tiny details that possibly no one will notice, but when you have so many of them, you start noticing these details. Oh, this one is a good example. This is a, you know, unbranded tin for 48 colors. It's the one I've been using for my White Nights paints. And as you can see, since they don't put the trays back to back, I'm calling this side with the clips the back. Whenever you want to pop out one of these colors here, it's almost impossible. You have to get your hands dirty or grab a tool and just wiggle in there to pop these out, because this prevents you from going in there. And I've seen pans like from Meeden that have this back to this, so it's like this whole tray is flipped around, so that means you can more easily pop the pans out. And it's a small detail, but it's a really important one when you want to move things around or like work with the palette. So yeah, so that's something perhaps if you want to buy one of these huge tins, well, you never know, like you might see on a picture that this is back to this, but when you get them it's not, because that's something that happens sometimes. But yeah, if you can see one that has the railings, like the clips next to the clips of the other rails, that would be a much better choice for you. Oh, they're made in Germany, these. They're really great. I really like these. You cannot remove, this is not an insert, this is glued down, but it's fine. I don't mind. I don't feel like I want to pop this out, since I don't have like this is small when it's closed, but when you open it, it takes 3 times the space. So it's kind of like I often just use one of these, so I could possibly remove, like I can see the metal pin that holds this. Perhaps I could just remove this, but I worry that it might not close as well if I do. Oh, I'm glad you sell them empty, April. So yeah, check out, if you want to look at this tin, April is saying that she sells them empty on her Etsy store. So yeah, I really love that these are super thin and also metal. So you know that if you drop this, like if you drop a plastic tin, a plastic box, there's always a risk that you've broken something in there. But with metal, it's much less likely. So yeah, not all trays are made with Oh, oh, this is tacky. Hold on. Digging out this. So this tray, from a similar like nondescript black tin, has a tiny bit more space between the backing and this rail. So I can sort of get my finger in there and pop it out. But that's probably just because I have like small fingers. I think that the back-to-back railings is really a better idea because at least you can pop the tray out and then you can clip them out blang, 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 blang like this. And in the middle, there's often a bit more space in the middle that you can more easily clip these out to. So, yeah. I will just store a couple of these. Okay, so schminke set. Oh, I'd love to have that slim metal palettes, but with your logo on them. That would be so pretty. Would the logo be in white instead of black? Okay, so apparently April is saying that if I remove the tray from my generic black palettes, if I remove this this one tray with the pin, it will still close well. Cool. Yeah, so as you can see, the schminke palettes has this kind of issues of not having a lot of space between the trays, and it's really kind of like I can remove them, but like I said, I think it's if you have small fingers, you might be able to do it. But yeah, they don't. I have seen that the Meaden palettes, I saw that the pink and the blue ones seem to have back-to-back trays like this, and I've ordered one just to check it out. Well, to check it out because I also need a way to store pans. So I mostly use these tins to store pans because it's a nice way to have, like, this is this set, this is this other set, these are these paints. But I'm really curious to see if it's just the packaging pictures that show the trays back to back, or if the actual tray will be like nicely thought out. They're also not that expensive, considering that a schminke palette like this one is kind of overpriced maybe. The Meaden ones are really more affordable, but you can get a dud. Though the only dud I've ever gotten was from a Jackson's palette, like that kind of I think it was one for 24 colors, like metal tin like that, and one of the trays, no matter how much I played with the back to clip the pans, they would not clip into place. I think the back was perhaps a bit too short, so there's kind of a rolled. I don't know if I'll be able. My camera is kind of lousy, so I don't know if it will pick it up. But if you look at most of these palettes, the back there's a roll, like it ends up in a roll, and basically the pan clips right under the roll, and that's what holds the pan into place. Like the strength of being clipped under there and pressed against this small border here is what keeps the pans from moving. Well, not in this case, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like you can press it forward a bit and clip it back in, and it should hold better. So yeah, but this one palette, I got one of the trays for a 24 palette, so it was larger, but it's like this roll was too low and no pans would clip under it, even if I tried with like smaller pans like Winsor & Newton. So I basically took out the screwdriver and popped the tray out and used magnets instead. But that's the only palette of like a great big bunch of them. So I'm not exactly nervous when I order a cheap palette. Oh wow. Yeah, if you are familiar with Jackson's and you want to get the bigger set, just keep an eye on their sales. They often have watercolor sales, or like at the moment it's like a plein air sale, so all the travel sets and travel brushes are 10% off. So if you keep an eye on this stuff, you might be able to get the set at a good discount. Alright, so I'm trying to think if you guys have any more questions. I can recap briefly about the main palettes I wanted to look at, since Otto couldn't make it at the beginning. But I wanted to talk about these two palettes that I got at my local art store. They're like unbranded and kind of sneaky in their listings. But I was really intrigued because they had the product picture and it looked something like this, I think. And I was like, what's this? And it's not super expensive too. If it had been more expensive, I would not have gotten these. But they are really inexpensive compared to the price you pay for the Sakura set, which are really crummy in my opinion. They're not good paints. I know some people paint good things with them and like them, but I tried and couldn't make it happen. But yeah, so this was like $13 and the larger one was like $20 in Canadian currency. So I got really curious about these, and they're quite nice. They featured these cartridges with pans in them, and they're not like generic pans, which is perhaps the only sad-ish thing about this set. But they're like, at least they provide the pans with the set, you know, and these are large set, and you could possibly decide like, I only want to use 12 colors in here. So you pop these out, you can put something else here, and you have these pans and trays if you want to like rotate the colors around and switch it up. Like it's nicely customizable for that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And same idea with the larger one, except that it has a lot more colors. I can perhaps do a really quick test to see how this plastic takes up the paint. I'm just grabbing the first set that's there. These are Holbein paints and a water brush. So really kind of dry water brush. Okay, so it sort of beads up a little. I feel like this is something that will get better the more you use the plastic, as it often is the case, but it's still, you get areas that don't really bead, so I could still see my mix. Like it doesn't pull into a single bubble in the middle, so you can still see the color you mix with this, even if it's not perfectly smooth. See, that's okay for me. I can work with this. I apologize for the noise that's possibly coming from outside. Apparently it's a really Canadian thing, but in the neighborhood here there are many dudes who really like their circular saws and their like vacuums, and I'm guessing that perhaps they take care of their cars by overly vacuuming and cleaning them with all kinds of noisy devices. Also, leaf blowers are really popular. The only thing I want to do with a leaf blower is stick it up the bum of someone using it and see if they will blow into a balloon. But yeah, pans. Yeah, the Christmas sale for at Jackson's is usually really nice, but things tends to go out of stock quite fast. So if you want to make sure you get the drop, there are two ways. You can subscribe to their newsletter, which would be possibly the most convenient way, but there's also a channel on my Discord server that's in the description below that's about art deals, and everybody's welcome to share the deals they find so that other people may also benefit from them. Oh, the cool 3D printed inserts like these. Okay, hold on, I will... Let me get the box. I kept the original box because it has all the information on it. Okay, so it's a website and it's an artist called Hazel Scott, and they have their own website, which is hazelscott.ph, and that's where I bought the square tin, this one and this one. I got the tins and I bought all the inserts from her. So hazelscott.ph. My Discord server is not in the description. Bummer. Hold on. No, why do you not work with me, Discord server? It's in the description of when I do the impromptu, because YouTube has two ways of live streaming. One that is sort of an event that you schedule, and one that is just, I want to stream live, and they don't use the same sort of information and template for the way, like, anyway, long story short, it's weird. Okay. Peko just came by. Okay, so yeah, and she sends them with a few of the magnets, but I had more magnets around, so I really went crazy with the magnets. Well, this one only has one because it's a mixing palette, but for the color palettes that I really wanted to stay into place, I put a lot of magnets on them. They really don't budge. They're even a bit hard to take out. So yeah, I don't know if she still has them. Sometimes there is no stock and all of that, and you can sometimes be lucky and find these tins on yard sales, estate sales, or on eBay. But on eBay they tend to be a bit overpriced, and some of them are dirty inside. These are quite clean. But yeah, that's where I got these from. Bye, Florina. Thanks for stopping by. And yes, these are really quite nice for a super compact set with, that you can easily get to work with. But yeah, the thing is that I wasn't quite sure. That's why I haven't filled them. Not because I don't like them. I'm really eager to work with these, but I wasn't sure. I was like, with so many colors in such small quantity, I don't see myself doing a lot of reference sketches from this, or landscapes, or that kind of bigger paintings. No, nothing happened. Okay, so but I might I still have to test more this way of painting, but I might finally find a way to use these that I will actually enjoy. So yeah, still need to test that out. Why are Daniel Smith paints so expensive here in Germany? Well, you have access to Schminke paints for quite a good price. It's always when people ask which paint you should get, I kind of always want to say get whatever is good quality and easy for you to find. So yeah, if you have easy access to Schminke, get Schminke. If you have easy access to Daniel Smith because you're in the US, get Daniel Smith. Of course, that's only if like you don't have a specific aim. If you know you want a specific brand for sure, well, that's a bit more complicated. But when people are like unsure which brand they want to use, like you need to get experience with one brand in order to decide if you like the others or not. So get whatever is handy and work with it. And if you realize you really don't like these, then perhaps it's time to try and see getting something else. Also, I would say, that's me, but I always say get the professional range paints. You can skip the student paints. They're not really worth it in my opinion. And say you try professional paints and you don't like it, you can probably resell them, which is not something you can do with student paints most of the time. But if you have like a slightly used Daniel Smith tube, I'm pretty sure people are gonna buy it from you. Well, if you have a slightly used Cutman tube, you might have a harder time selling it. And you don't need like the 24 color set to begin with. You can start with 6 colors, 10 colors. Like you get 3 and you add 1 every month. Oh, qu'est-ce que tu veux? There's a bunch of kids outside. And there's a kitten here. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. I'm trying to coax Peko to come close. Gotcha. Again. Rah. 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 This is my house tiger. I also have a house panther. You're hungry again, are you? You're always hungry. Hey, kitty, 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 kitty. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. She's the only one I can take like a baby and she won't maim me. Okay, she wants to go down. Up, up. Off you go. Wee. So yeah, as I was saying, do you have any more questions about the palettes? If you have any, I'm trying to think, are there other tricks, tips, and whatnot I can share about palettes? There's one I've already shared, but I can repeat it again. But if you have a stained palette that's really annoying you, and before using like more abrasive methods of cleaning it, try using a plastic polymer eraser on a clean, dry palette. See if that removes the stain. If it doesn't remove the stain, then perhaps you can look into a magic eraser or anything like that. But I found that this works quite well, and it's also non-destructive, and plastic erasers are really cheap. Yeah, Scout is friendly. She's just not much of a camera person. And I can flip her around. I can take her in my arms, no problem, but if I try to flip her on her back, she will freak out and wiggle back to being in the proper in the proper sense. Oh yeah, the price for cat hair everywhere. I'm super willing to pay that price. Oh my god, trucks and everything. Yeah. Thank you, Otto. Yeah, likes on this video are much appreciated. Like if quick parenthesis on the way YouTube works, but there's a lot of YouTube stats that come about the referencing of the video. So when you take the time to like or write a comment, it doesn't have to be like a super lengthy, elaborate comment. You can just say like, thanks for the video, just thanks, or just hi, or like this counts as an interaction with the video for YouTube, and the more interactions the video gets, the more referencing it gets. So YouTube will suggest it more to people who watch similar videos. So yeah, so that's basically the way it works. That's why I have this small thing at the beginning of my videos, like if you can thumbs up and leave a comment, it helps. No, you don't have to, but if you want to help and don't really know how, this is a very simple and cheap and free way to help. And yeah, that's the way YouTube works for now. So I don't know how it will work in a month or in 2 months or 3 months, but for now this kind of small interaction really helps with the videos getting more views and more suggestions and eventually reaching more people. Because that's a weird thing, I don't know if you've noticed, but with the way YouTube is, like, I often find artists that have been around for a good while that I had never seen before, and I'm like, okay, so YouTube, you wanna suggest to me like really crummy, trendy videos that have nothing to do with my interests, but whenever there is something that could interest me, you won't suggest it to me, just because I don't know. I watch a lot of videos, like I'm putting in time in there. So there's definitely something for YouTube to like algorithm out of this and try to give me like more stuff to watch. But no, they keep on sending me like this stupid stuff I don't want to. I don't want to watch. So yeah, okay, rambling is over. Thank you so much everyone for being there for this impromptu like ToolTalk live stream. I might do more tool talks if that's something that would interest you. It's basically just code for me rambling about tools and possibly sharing tips I've picked up. But yeah, oh yeah, that's true, like YouTube will suggest my own video to me and I'm like, that's my like when it does, I always make sure I'm logged in, because it always feels like, am I logged in? Oh, I am logged in, that's my video. What? Don't no. So yeah, so yeah, let me know in the comments if you feel like you would want to have more of like ToolTalk live streams. If you want to discuss a specific tool, you can also leave that kind of information in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for showing up. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a nice day. If you're like me and you're having a cool day for once, I hope you can enjoy it. So take care everyone, and also great thanks to Otto for being the moderator again and being like super efficient at sharing the links and the information we talk about. So if you haven't already, go check her channel and subscribe and binge watch all her videos. Oh, hi Paulo. I hope the dogs are okay. But yeah, so thanks everyone, have a great day, take care, and we'll see each other quite soon. Bye bye.